Welcome to another deep dive with us today, where we're going to be tackling
Okay.
a pretty fascinating paradox.
Right.
The coexistence of profound thinking and, well, let's just say colorful behavior.
Yeah.
And our case study for this is none other than the legendary General George S. Patton.
Interesting choice.
Yeah. Makes you wonder.
Yeah. How
those seemingly contradictory traits can exist.
Yeah. In the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got two sources to help us kind of unpack this a bit.
Okay.
A personal reflection by Lev Moten,
Right.
and a Wall Street Journal article about Patton's faith during World War II.
Okay.
And what I think is really interesting is that Moten seemed to see Patton as part of a larger archetype.
Okay.
These are individuals who are deeply thoughtful and spiritual, but also known for their, shall we say, unconventional way of expressing themselves.
And he doesn't just limit it to the military world either.
Yeah.
He kind of draws a parallel with figures in business.
He does.
As well.
Yeah, he mentions this fascinating example.
Yeah.
A businessman he calls Mr. H.
Okay.
And on the surface, Mr. H was this cynical, straight-talking executive. But beneath that kind of gruff exterior, he had this strong ethical core and deep religious convictions.
Wow.
Almost like he was playing a role,
Yeah.
but always operating from a place of principle.
Yeah. So it reminds us that first impressions can be deceiving.
Totally.
Sometimes the most profound individuals,
Yeah.
they hide their depth
Yeah.
beneath a seemingly rough exterior.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's shift gears over to the Wall Street Journal piece,
Okay.
which focuses on Patton's faith during World War II.
Okay.
Particularly during the Battle of the Bulge.
Right.
And just for those who might not remember, this was a pretty desperate time for the Allies.
Oh, yeah.
Hitler's last major offensive.
Yeah.
Brutal fighting in the dead of winter, heavy casualties.
Absolutely.
A real turning point in the war.
Yeah, for sure.
And in the midst of this incredibly challenging situation, the article highlights how Patton turned to his faith
Okay.
for strength and guidance. In fact, he ordered the printing and distribution of 250,000 prayer cards to his troops.
Wow, that's incredible.
I know. It makes you wonder what his thinking was behind that. Was it a purely personal expression of faith?
Yeah.
Or was there kind of a strategic element to it as well?
Yeah.
You know, trying to boost morale.
Yeah. In a dire situation.
In a really dire situation.
Definitely interesting to consider.
It is. And he also asked his chaplain to compose a prayer for favorable weather.
Oh, wow.
The conditions at the time were just horrendous.
Oh, yeah.
Snow freezing temperatures, severely limiting Allied air support.
Right.
They desperately needed a break in the weather.
Yeah, they needed something.
And according to the article, shortly after those prayer cards are distributed, the skies cleared.
That's interesting.
It's a detail that has sparked much debate and discussion over the years. Was it coincidence?
Yeah.
Divine intervention, whatever the explanation.
Right.
The clearing skies allowed Allied air power to provide that crucial support.
For sure.
Which undoubtedly had a significant impact.
Yeah, definitely.
On the battle's outcome.
Absolutely.
Speaking of impact, I found it fascinating that Patton saw chaplains as crucial to victory.
Really?
And insisted they be right there on the front lines with the soldiers.
Wow.
Not just back at headquarters, but in the thick of it.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
It's almost like he saw the chaplain's role as a kind of force multiplier, you know?
Yeah.
Bolstering the troops' resilience and fighting spirit.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the chaplains. Remember that famous Patton quote?
Oh, yeah.
About how he believed that he had to give it to them double dirty.
Yeah.
If he wanted his men to remember something important.
Yeah, classic Patton.
A rather colorful illustration.
A colorful guy.
Of his leadership style.
Yeah, he wasn't known for mincing words.
Definitely not. Which makes it even more fascinating that despite his frequent profanity, his deep faith was acknowledged by those who knew him well. Even General Omar Bradley, a man not exactly known for embellishment, described Patton as profane, but also reverent.
It's a testament to the complexity of his character, you know?
Yeah.
These seemingly contradictory qualities weren't separate entities, but rather just intertwined aspects of who he was.
And it makes you wonder, does this duality contribute to the effectiveness of leaders like Patton?
That's a good question.
Is there something about this blend of profound thinking and unconventional behavior that allows them to connect with people on a deeper level?
Yeah.
To inspire them to achieve extraordinary things?
It's a really thought-provoking question.
It is.
I mean, it really challenges our traditional notions of what makes an effective leader.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's no one formula, you know?
Right.
And individuals like Patton kind of demonstrate that strength can manifest in unexpected ways.
Absolutely. And it definitely makes you think about other figures who might fit into this profound and profane archetype that Nemotin describes.
Right. He mentions a few in his piece.
He does, like who?
Like Winston Churchill?
Oh, yeah.
Renowned for his brilliant oratory.
Of course.
But also his fondness for whiskey and cigars.
Right. And then there's someone like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
A figure who certainly doesn't shy away from strong opinions.
Definitely not.
Or unconventional communication styles.
Right. And this is where things get interesting for you, dear listener.
Yeah.
You know, think about other public figures, past or present.
Right.
Who might exhibit this duality.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating exercise in recognizing the complexities of human nature.
Totally. Okay, so where does Patton fit into all of this?
Yeah.
His later life actually adds another layer to this whole paradox.
Oh, really?
Despite his incredible military successes, he was ultimately removed from command for making, shall we say, impolitic statements to the press.
Yes, quite ironic, isn't it? It seems that the same bluntness that served him so well on the battlefield didn't translate so well to the world of diplomacy.
And there's a certain poignancy to the fact that Patton died shortly after the war in a car accident.
Oh, wow.
Kind of a tragic end to a larger-than-life figure.
Yeah, and to add another layer of meaning to all of this, he's buried in the American cemetery in Luxembourg, right next to a soldier from the Battle of the Bulge.
Wow.
The general laid to rest alongside one of the very men he fought so hard to lead to victory.
It's a powerful image.
It is.
That speaks to the complexities of his character and the lasting impact he had on those who served under him.
Absolutely. But it also brings us back to that core question.
Right.
Does this seeming contradiction between profound thought and unfiltered behavior represent some kind of balancing force in certain personalities?
It's a question worth pondering.
It is perhaps for individuals like Patton who operate at such a high-intensity level. These contrasting qualities are actually interconnected, even essential.
Maybe it's the tension between these extremes that fuels their brilliance.
Yeah.
Their drive, their ability to make such a profound impact on the world.
And ultimately, it's this very humanness, with all its contradictions and complexities, that makes their stories so compelling.
It's a reminder that we're all multifaceted beings.
Right.
Capable of both great and, well, not so great things.
For sure.
And maybe embracing both ends of the spectrum is what makes us truly whole.
A thought-provoking conclusion to our exploration of the profound and profane.
It really is.
So, dear listener, as you go about your day, consider this.
Yeah.
Could it be that these seeming contradictions are not contradictions at all?
Right.
But rather essential ingredients in the recipe of human greatness?
Yeah, it really does.
It does make you think about things.
And you know, when we look back at Patton's life, it's striking how often those contrasting qualities seem to have played a role.
It's true. His audacity and unconventional tactics were key to his success on the battlefield. But that same impulsiveness ultimately led to his downfall.
Right. It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is.
And this brings us back to Nemotin's initial observation, the idea that this duality, this blend of profound and profane, might actually be a key element in the makeup of certain individuals.
And he doesn't explicitly say whether he believes this is a positive or a negative thing.
Right.
He simply presents it as an observation and leaves it up to us to ponder the implications.
Which I think is really the heart of this whole deep dive. You know, we're not here to judge Patton or anyone else who fits this archetype. We're simply trying to understand this fascinating phenomenon.
Exactly. And as we wrap up, I think it's worth emphasizing that while we've focused on Patton, this idea of contrasting qualities isn't limited to military figures or even to those in positions of power.
That's a great point. It makes me think about artists, writers, musicians, so many creative individuals who push boundaries and challenge conventions, often expressing themselves in ways that might seem contradictory or even shocking to some.
It's as if these individuals are constantly wrestling with these opposing forces, trying to reconcile these seemingly incompatible elements within themselves.
Yeah.
And perhaps it's this internal struggle that fuels their creativity, their passion, their drive to make a mark on the world.
And maybe, just maybe, it's the ability to embrace both sides of the spectrum, to hold those contradictions within themselves that allows them to achieve truly extraordinary things.
So as you reflect on this deep dive, dear listener, consider this. What seemingly contradictory qualities do you see in yourself?
Hmm.
And how might embracing those complexities unlock your own potential, lead you to new insights and discoveries?
Really gets you thinking. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive exploring the fascinating life and legacy of General George S. Patton and the paradoxical blend of profound thinking and colorful behavior that made him such a compelling and enigmatic figure. It's a reminder that the most extraordinary individuals often defy easy categorization, and that true greatness may lie in embracing the full spectrum of human experience. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.